Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and if you saw my thumbnail, this is going to be an Evil's Chats. I don't do these as often as I should, but it's always about the idea. But I have been wanting to do this for some time. I just needed the free time and free space to do this video, and I don't do that, that often. But before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help immensely. The interaction is why I'm on YouTube. This is the reason I'm doing this video, is I want the interaction from you, the viewer at home or on your phone or wherever you are right now. Hit that bell. You never know when I'm going to be dropping new stuff. And I do have a couple different videos on the way. One of them already being filmed. I just got to edit it through. But we are going to be talking about The Amazing Spider-Man from Marvel, issue number 26. If you have not read this, and maybe it's sitting there on the stack of stuff to read, please pause this video, get away from this video, go read this sucker and come back when you're done. I don't want to be the one to spoil it. If you don't care about that, if you've already been spoiled, you already read it, you're in the right place. But this is not going to be a full review. I'm not going to go into the artist and all that other stuff, because this is more a rant than anything. But a little background, Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters. He's not like my ultimate favorite character anymore, and that's really just due to the comics that they've been putting out, that kind of stuff, the movies they've been putting out, the storylines that they've chosen to show us or give us. I don't know what to say. But growing up, Spider-Man was actually one of the first characters that got me into comic books, and not even that, just the nerd world in general. And I wouldn't say he was the first, but he was one of the first, because it was kind of split. I can remember Batman, Spider-Man, Superman was there, but a bunch of characters when I was a little kid was introduced to me very early on, and Spider-Man was one of those characters, just like billions of other people that love Spider-Man, right? He speaks to us on a whole nother level, a simple level, right? We can all, on some sort of level, like, symbolize with Spider-Man. Not everybody, of course, but a mass amount of people can, symbolize with Spider-Man. It wasn't even about that. One of the things I loved about Spider-Man is he never quit. It didn't matter how bad he got hurt and how bad, his costume would be torn up and he'd be all hurting and shit, still holding up a building, saving people. That's what I loved about Spider-Man. He never quit. Now, over the years, it's been a little different. Reading Spider-Man, and not the entire, I've never been fortunate enough to read everything Spider-Man, but I have read a lot of Spider-Man. And I've enjoyed most of it, especially when I was a kid, going through the Todd McFarlane stuff when I was a teenager. And there has been some great Spider-Man stuff since then, right? I'm looking at Superior Spider-Man right now. I love that series, and I'm so excited they're bringing him back. But it's not to say that you can't have a good Spider-Man story. But where we're at, man, I'm at the point where I'm almost at that point where I'm about to, maybe shadow ban Marvel or something. And it's not all Marvel books right now, but there's just, and that's kind of why I'm doing this rant, because I need some help from the viewer, from you at home, on your phone, on your tab, wherever you are. But I need some help understanding something, because I'm at a miss. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me at all. It's almost like they're trolling us, and I don't get that either. So, all spoilers aside, right? If you've read the story, if you know what happens, it's specifically dealing with Kamala Khan and the death of Kamala Khan, one of my favorite characters, and a new character, right? She hasn't been around for that long. But I can tell you what, I was there day one when I bought the comic. I don't have it currently, but I was there day one when it dropped. I picked it up on a whim. I kind of like the idea. I do have a huge, massive passion for kind of anything Middle Eastern, as far as cultures and story, music, and stuff like that. So Kamala Khan spoke to me like day one, and I was there, and I loved her. That first series when it dropped. What was it, back in 2012? Or, don't quote me on the year. But I really enjoyed everything that they brought to the table when they invented Miss Marvel. And in no shape or form am I that guy that's dumb, like, oh, they killed off a character. Well, they're not going to stay dead. Yeah, I get it. Death in comics is not an action, it's a character. And both Marvel and DC, they both have a character that's called Death. That's why the running gag about people staying dead, don't stay. Yeah, I get that. I'm not a new comic book reader, trust me. That's not what this rant about. This rant about is about a story. And it's always a story with me. And a lot of people are like, oh, you love every comic you read. I don't. There are some comics that I do read, and they're okay. There's some that are great. There's some that are phenomenal. But you talk about one that is bad, and I'm holding it right here in my hand. And it's not because they killed off a legacy character, which they kind of explain at the end that there was a great, and I can even show you what they wrote, because that's even disgraceful, the way they wrote it. But you're talking about, you have this potential of a sacrificial character, and let me explain something. If you haven't been reading this, Kamala Khan has only shown up, we're at issue 26, and she's only shown up for about 6 pages in all of this series. Brian and his review, when he did this, when he did the review on this issue, pointed out exactly that she hasn't even been in this series. Like, perchance working at the Oscorp, that was set up. I get it. But you're talking about this whole ordeal. We were flipping through time and going through dimensions, Mary Jane picking up kids, and all of a sudden Kamala Khan just shows up at the end just to get murdered. Like, bro, the explanation, to me, this whole thing was just poorly written. And you're talking about, like, Zeb Wells is a big name in comics, right? And people had to have read this. They hyped it up forever, saying it was going to be the biggest thing. And, and I fell into it. I've been reading Spider-Man, and for the most part, I was even enjoying it. Up until the part where they started doing the whole flipping around with Raven and stuff like that. And I could even you're talking about for 3 issues, they basically gave us filler and reprinted stuff, the stuff that was in the issue before the issue. You're talking about they didn't just catfish us. They didn't they got us on like 3-4 different things. Now, I might be in the minority about this issue. Maybe you loved it and this and that, and you thought it was the greatest story ever, and maybe you're like a 80-year-old, comic book reader. I don't know. Maybe I am in the minority. But for me, this was a pathetic attempt at a story. Not only that, but the way you kill off a character. It could have been great. You're talking about Miss Marvel is one of my favorite characters, and no, she's another character. I haven't read everything, but that doesn't matter. I still love her. I watch the show. Every time she appears in a comic, I read. I get excited, But you're talking about you had the opportunity to kill off a character, which I'm not against. And I'm not stupid. She can come back. I get it. But at the same time, you're talking about you're going to kill off one of my favorite characters, and I read it, and she died. I didn't even shed a tear. There was no emotion behind it. Not only was there no reason for her to die in the comic or in the story, but then you don't even put any emotion behind it. Literally when she died, and I get what they're doing, they're setting up another cash grab, because that's the second thing that they're doing. That's all this is. They just, to me, they're just putting Spider-Man on a name. They brought in a big name like John Romita Jr., and he's a whole nother complaint in my book. I grew up loving this dude. He was like the name, besides Stan Lee in my mind, that was associated with Spider-Man the most. Him and his dad, right? But you're talking about and I'm not saying all of his art is bad. I do like his art, and he will forever hold a place in my heart as being a great artist. But you're talking about what we're getting now from Romita, and I know I'm not the only one but you're talking about, the hell is that? There are a bunch of panels, and honestly the only people that he can really draw good at this point is anybody with a mask, because Spider-Man always looks amazing. But then you got Mary Jane, and she's got this Eddie Brock, chin, and I get, his style is more of a squared out. It's not. He doesn't do that all the time. You look at Raven. Raven's got a circular face. Why is he purposely doing that to Mary Jane? Making her more look like a man because him and Peter aren't her and Peter aren't together at the moment. Is that a hidden jab? Is I gotta make Mary Jane look least unappealing every time she's in a panel, because it's ironic. Every time you see Black Cat in any of his stuff, she looks fine, but there's so many panels where it's just it just looks sloppy. Like, I mean, he's just pumping stuff out. And I'm no art expert, but to me, this is not like, like $1 million class artist art. And I'm no, like I said, I'm no artist expert or whatever. But honestly, I mean, I've seen a lot of John Romita Jr. art, and to me, it's not up to par. But then you match it with this bogus story, like, and it's not even the death of Miss Marvel, right? Because then they do this whole thing where, like, like they set it up where, like, Mary Jane had these kids, and they were supposed to be with Paul and not Peter's, and they were like setting up this whole, like, how did she get the kids? When did they have the time to have the kids? And then coming to find out the kids ain't even real. It's like some bullshit that Raven, like, set up for purposes unknown. Like, okay, in the middle of the battle, he ends up taking the kids away. And it just pisses Mary Jane off. Like, to the point where she starts fighting Raven with her. Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, this dude was trying to kill Spider-Man to become a god. He missed his chance because, like, Mary Jane pushes him out of the way and he gets teleported back to his regular dimension, right? But he was supposed to kill Spider-Man. He needed his blood to become a god. What, did the writer forget? Spider-Man's right there, bro. You could still go after him. So what was the whole reason of, like, needing his blood, and because it got defeated, it switches to Mary Jane? I'm not getting that part of it. Like, what, you forgot that you needed Spider-Man's blood? And because you missed that opportunity, all of a sudden his blood isn't important anymore? So what was the point of needing Spider-Man's blood before that? Well, it was an opportune window of... Get out of here. Okay. So then Mary Jane gets pissed off and starts fighting Raven. Fantastic Four show up to, like... most of the story was not all terrible. I mean, for the most part, most of this stuff was decent. They end up fighting this big kaiju dragon that was like a pre-trap set up by Raven years before. Like, how did you even know you were going to fight him in here? And yes, he can see, like, into the future and all this. Okay, well, that's part of the problem. You could set these traps in the past and have them ready to go for this battle that that's coming. But when we get to the battle, one, you get tricked by a shapeshifter, which she hardly does. Like, I didn't even know Miss Marvel could do that on that level. That's how hardly she does it. But not only that, the villain forgets, like, the 3 things that he's after. Like, bro, you forget that you're after Spider-Man, and because that didn't happen, you got after Mary Jane. Okay, so we switched inertia to Mary Jane. So during the fight, there's like 2 different moments where he's getting the crap beat out of him by not only Spider-Man, Miss Marvel too, but then not only that, his son, like, that whole, like, oh, well, Spider-Man already knew this. Most of this happened, like, on repeat for 3 issues. If Spider-Man already knew this, why didn't you, as the comic book, already fill that in? Why do you wait for, like, all this shit to go on while you reveal that Paul is Raven's son? And not only that, Spider-Man already knew, Mary Jane already knew, and, like, okay, so back to the future part. You could see the future and predict all this stuff, and not even predict, because he's already seen it and knows how it's going to end. He stated that several times during the comic. And we're getting to points like this, and Spider-Man's beating the crap out of him with, like, parking meters. Not only that, where he's able to, like, split himself into 2 and teleport. I mean, okay, so you could do all that, but then somehow you're mystically tricked by Miss Marvel shape-shifting into Mary Jane. Not only that, when they're fighting Raven together, Mary Jane and Miss Marvel at this point, Spider-Man ends up going somewhere else, and he's trying to make it back to Mary Jane to protect Mary Jane. It's not happening. So, Miss Marvel steps up, and they're fighting together. During this fight, Raven knows they're together. They run down an alley. I don't know what alleys you've been at, but alleys are block to block. And Miss Marvel runs down an alley. Mary Jane runs down the other side of the alley. And then Raven shows up. And guess what? He kills her, right? You're trying to tell me in the time that one ran in that direction and one ran in that direction while you were standing there, like right before you fought him, you got tricked on which one was which? Plus, you're supposed to be able to see in the future. So why would you kill the shapeshifter? Like, bro, there's so many holes in this story. It's almost like a 5th grader wrote this story. And I mean, it's at the point, and this is, I mentioned this before, I need your help on this, right? Because I'm not getting this. You're trying to tell me that this is Marvel's biggest selling book. It has been for years. It's their most popular character, regardless of what your passion or for America or Black Panther or maybe I'm crazy, but no, Spider. That's why he was the first movie they picked. Come on. So you're trying to tell me this is their most profitable, and you're gonna put crap in it? It's going past editors. Other people that are reading this, and this is what you're going to give us. I'm not understanding it. And for me, this is like a 3 shine on Spider-Man. It wasn't just this series, the series before, when they were just setting up Dark Web with Chasm and Ben Reilly. It wasn't even a Spider-Man story, really, right? The series before that, where he spent like, what, 82, 83 issues, maybe Sinister War, you counted 90 issues to find out who Kindred was? I'm not getting it. Not only that, but and I'm in the minority about this, but I did not like Spider-Man No Way Home. I did not like the ending. The fact that you kill off Mary Jane, Uncle Ben. Like, bro, how bad do you got to rub this guy in the dirt before, like, I mean, you just turn him into a villain? At the end of the story, the way it was going, that's the only route I see for Spider-Man at this point. Is the world, not even the world, other metaverses, other dimensions have all rubbed Spider-Man through the dirt. Why he's still trying to save us and be a hero and shit? I mean, how long do you think this dude's gonna, like, not be able to break? Eventually he will. What's the story outcome? He's just gonna become a villain. I'm not getting the whole, like, let's take our most popular character and not only put trash in it, not only put trash art. And I hate saying that. There is no such thing as bad art. And really, I would say the term should be sloppy art, because that's what it is. This dude is a talented artist, and he has the ability to do phenomenal work. But yet, we're getting this. And it's not just this issue, I'm sorry. I mean, every issue. And I was kind of a defender of the series for, like, a little bit up until we got into the Rabin side. I still liked, for the most part, I was giving it a good read. No, this is, I don't get this, and I'm sorry I have to be like ramful, and maybe I misread it, maybe I'm confused, and maybe he didn't know the future, maybe he wasn't ever as bad, man. Maybe I just read the story wrong. I don't know, but I can honestly tell you that I am on the route to not picking up Spider-Man anymore. And like right now, I think I'm picking up like 5 or 6 Spider-Man titles, and it's ironic. They're all the better titles. Miles has been fire. Like, Venom has actually been good the whole way through. Red Goblin, Gold Goblin. Like, I'm reading Mary Jane and Black Cat. That's been a decent read. Like, I wouldn't say any of these are phenomenal. Miles was pretty good the first like 4 or 5 issues as far as a phenomenal read goes. I mean, Spider-Man or Man or whatever it is, the other series that's going on with Spider-Boy, and that's been okay too. It was a little crazy during the whole, like, Spider-Verse crap, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about they brought in like 200-something characters that kept flipping and flopping. I mean, but it was still good. But I'm not getting this. I'm not getting, the thinking, none of that. But hey guys, you let me know down below what you thought of this comic. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. That's all I got for you. I will let you go. Alright guys.